Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the gift of your smiles. Hope you have a delicious Thanksgiving, and maybe you called some friends and family. You ate pie with abandon, and you enjoyed this perfect weather we're having in Southern California. And thank you, Robert, for delivering the food to the food bank. Today is the first day of a very important month, probably renowned for giving and receiving, December. So today I want to discuss giving and receiving. It's known as the law of circulation. It's all about the flow of life. But circulation also implies circular. What you give out returns to you, magnified. So in Science of Mind, we teach, it's the study of life and the nature of laws of thought. And we live in a spiritual universe. God is in us, around us, and through us. And that presence is a loving source of all good. That presence, that source is unlimited. The law of circulation helps us understand this universe that we live in. Everything's in motion, in the flow. And as the reading said, it's about unity. We're all one. We're one with Source. We're one with each other. Now science, I always like to bring science in this because I love quantum physics, but science teaches us that everything vibrates. And I may have mentioned before, string theory, everything is made up of unbelievably tiny strings whose vibrations produce effects, and we interpret that as atoms and electrons and quarks. But everything is in motion. Everything is in circulation. You and I and everything on this planet originated from the frequency of source energy and then moved into this world that we live in of chairs and bodies and things. But circulation is life. And you touched on it in your reading a little bit. What happens when you're congested, when you have congestion? Disease, poverty, fear. What happens when you remove those blockages? Circulation, health, life, loving relationships, creativity. So I want to give you some ideas for how to get rid of the blockages and stay in a giving and a receiving mode. The law of circulation also states to whom you give is not necessarily from whom you receive. The person that you give to is not the person you're going to receive from. And that's everything, tangent, intangible items like giving a compliment. You may receive a compliment from someone else. You give someone money. You receive money from all sources, all avenues. Birthday cards, clothing. We give and we receive. But first, just a couple little jokes. What's the best way to fix a broken pumpkin? Pumpkin patch. Jay Leno, who most of you know, he used to be on late night TV host. He said, you can tell you ate too much for Thanksgiving when you have to let your bathrobe out. I was in my bathrobe a lot. So what do you call rain on Thanksgiving? Foul weather, F-O-W-L. Foul. Okay. But so why do we understand universal spiritual laws? Because it helps us understand who we are and how we live in this reality. And Ernest Holmes said, there's a place in us which lies open to the infinite, but when Spirit brings its gift by pouring itself through us, it can give to us only what we take. And the taking is mental. Now, in order to be able to take greater presence of God in you and as you and through you, you have to heal yourself. That takes place first, because the great work of your life is you. Understanding you're divine. You're in human form, but you are divine. You're powerful. You create your life. Understanding the law of circulation can assist you in understanding also your unity with everything. And as you demonstrate the attributes of God, such as joy, health, prosperity, creativity, you're part of the flow. You're worthy. You're worthy of both giving and receiving. Now, I know there are people here, Lori mentioned it earlier, she tended to be a giver for a long time before becoming a receiver. I know there's some of us that love to give, but it's been very difficult to take a compliment, to receive. And what we have to understand is we have to have that balance. And the law of circulation is the flow of everything in life. So this month, did you know that American shoppers are estimated to spend $985 billion this month? That's a B. That's almost $1 trillion this 1 month. And that includes Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Las Posadas, New Year's Eve, winter solstice, all these celebrations. It's our time to give, and we love giving. We give to charities as well as to our family. And the food banks receive most of their gifts in late November and December. But in 2023, 47 million people lived in what they call food insecure. It means you don't have enough to eat. 7 million of those people were seniors. But seniors are also the largest group of givers to the food banks. So the holiday season is a time to reflect on the year, feel gratitude for all your friends and loved ones and family, and get into that giving spirit. Giving this time of year provides a higher volume of donations to food banks, and this is a wonderful way to give meals and gifts. However, hunger isn't seasonal. It doesn't begin the same day as the first turkey drive in November, and it doesn't end the day after the big ball drops in New York City. So find ways to give this year. And I would just suggest find one more path to give before the end of the year. I don't know if some of you know the parable of the measure, meaning like a measuring cup. There's a parable. In the New Testament it says we are told to give, and it will be given to you. They will pour into your lap a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. For by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you in return. Your mind is doing the measuring of your good. So, first you give and you receive, but you're the one who controls how much you receive. So, go ahead and get out there and live with abandon. Receive your good. I don't know, Kate reminded me about the parable of loaves and fishes, how hundreds, maybe thousands of people were fed by 6 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. Now, for many years I've thought, how does that work? How does that happen? Well, source is unlimited. And the fishes and the loaves were blessed. And there were baskets of food left over. So don't worry how your good shows up for you in life. Put it out there. Ask for what you want. And know it all comes from the same source. It's God's pleasure to give you the kingdom. And in the reading today, Ernest Holmes was quoting Matthew 10. He said, freely you have received, freely give. Well, the full passage says, it's kind of a commandment, it's kind of a request or a requirement, and it says, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, cast out devils, raise the dead. Goes on, it says, freely you have received and freely give. So what that means is you can heal yourself and others. It's for you to get out there and do that because you have been given, Spirit has poured itself into you. Now you give back. You can heal yourself. You can heal others. We have that ability. We have the power. And there's no greater gift than to give by helping each other. You know, I was thinking about Lori and her giving for these wells in India. You know, when you can give, when you can immerse yourself in something that is very exciting, that your whole self is interested in it, your whole self is giving and putting your attention not on yourself but on someone else or other, especially other people that need something like water, it expands your consciousness. It expands your ability to receive as well. You know, thinking about compliments again, do you have any blockage there? Are you difficult to receive a compliment? Years ago, I was departing on an airplane and I have the 2-year-old in one arm, I have the diaper bag, I have the purse, I have a car seat, and the person on the plane said, would you like me to help you? And I said, no, I can do that. You know, I look back and I think, what? How is it you could not receive help from someone, a wonderful person just standing there, an angel in disguise? And it's like it's taken me a long time to realize it's all God. You, I, everyone, we're all the divine in an amazing disguise, and we help each other. Ernest Holmes says, Spirit, which is the creative life principle, is forever flowing through us, but we've been given the power to impede it or stop it. We can tie a cord tightly around our arm and inhibit the circulation of blood. Congestion, stagnation, and infection will follow. In a like manner, through our thinking processes, our ideas and our convictions, we use a tourniquet of negative thought and we block the flow of creative life. Do you suffer from stagnation, fear of living, fear of dying, fear of success, fear of failure, fear? How are you cutting off your circulation? I used to live in Portland, Oregon, and I used to attend a Unity church there. Reverend Mary Manon Morrissey and her husband, Haven Boggs, and a group of people went to Jerusalem, to the Holy Land. And there were about 15 of us. And we went to Jerusalem and stayed there, and we took a bus and we went to the Dead Sea. Now, I don't know if some of you have been to the Dead Sea. It's actually beautiful, and parts of it are very, very blue, and around the edges are these huge salt banks, and it's 1,400 feet below sea level. So the problem is water goes down to it, but there's no escape, so there's no circulation. And it's fun because when you swim in it, you try to dive and you pop right up like a cork. It's like you're floating on top of the water. It's a very interesting way, it's 35% salt, so you're floating in salt. And it has, we swam in it, and that was okay, that was healthy, but nothing can live in that water. That water is totally devoid of life. and plants, no plants. It's eerie. And, I thought about that, that sea, that Dead Sea is stagnant. There's no flow. There's no life. So one of the things you can do, like Lori's doing, is serve other people. If you're having trouble getting your own circulation going, think about that. Ram Dass's last book is called Walking Each Other Home. Robert and I were in Maui and heard him talk his last presentation on the book. And he teaches this word, service. It's a Hindu word, and it's called Seva, S-E-V-A. And it basically is service, it's compassion, being a good listener, paying attention to someone other than yourself. God is always giving to us, and we reciprocate and give back when we love each other. When we see spirit in each other. The more we give, the greater our ability to receive, and the greater our divine consciousness, because we see the divine everywhere. Everywhere, in everybody. God in an amazing disguise. God in an amazing disguise. That's enlightenment. Enlightenment comes with raising your energy, your vibration. And we all vibrate. It's kind of off script, but we all vibrate. Our heart vibrates. Our breath. We don't hold our breath in. We breathe in. We breathe out. We wouldn't live very long if we held it. Same with blood, our heart, we wouldn't live very long. It's all in circulation. Parable of the King. My mother taught me this one when I was little. And this also says, "For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, you invited me in. Naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison, you came to me." But then they answered him, they said, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you as a stranger and invite you in, or naked and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison?" And the king answered and said to them, "Truly I say to you, to the extent that you did it for one of the least of these brothers or sisters of mine, you did it for me." We do it for each other. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, "Because of the unity underlying all life, no one lives entirely unto themselves, but through themselves we live unto the whole. Only as much life enters into us as we can conceive, and we conceive of life in the larger sense only when there is complete abandonment to it. Let the one who's depressed or unhappy be happy, find some altruistic purpose in which he or she may pour their whole being and find a new inflow of life of which they had never dreamed." Yes, it's God's pleasure to give us the kingdom, and the gift of heaven is made forever. But again, receiving this gift is a process of expanding, constantly expanding. The universal law of circulation teaches us to be whatever it is that you want. So if I want love, you have to be loving. If I want peace, be peaceful. If I want kindness, be kind. It's like you have to take that first step. You have to do that first. You have to put yourself out there. If you want peace, be peaceful. So you have to be willing to receive love and peace and kindness. So be part of the flow. basically remember everything's already within you. You didn't come here as some empty shell. It's already here. You've already got it. You need to uncover it. You need to make it known to yourself. You need to bring it out. Recognize the divine in yourself first. So, example, maybe you're in a relationship and you say, now I'm waiting for the other person to love me and respect me. Well, no, you take the first step. Start by giving love and respect to yourself. If I am loved and valued and respected, how would I treat myself? How would I be good to me? How would I hold myself? How would I show up in this relationship? How would I show up at work? How would I make food choices if I loved myself? How would I exercise my body if I loved myself? Etc. How do you love you? And you begin to look for it also, and you'll notice that somebody just opened a door for me. Somebody just paid me a compliment. You know, somebody said thank you. Once you put your attention on that, it shows up everywhere. So give to yourself first, and bring love, appreciation, validation, whatever, to your life. And as you do that, you're creating flow. Circulation begins again. Now you have energy. Now you have expansion. Now you have growth. The word currency, it includes money. Currency comes from the root of current, which means to flow, to circulate. And affluence comes from affluere, which comes from a word that means to flow into. So if you want to enjoy greater affluence, then create greater current in your life. Ernest Holmes again said, just as water purifies itself as it flows, so the impure stream of our mental life becomes purified by applied constructive thinking. It may well be that a lack of circulation in the physical body is a result of mental stagnation, while mental stagnation is a result of lack of spiritual perception. I've been reading from an email that I get. I think Jan sends it out too, but it's Reverend Scott Aubrey. And he was talking about, he said, Einstein said nothing happens until something moves. This is a universe of vibration. Everything vibrates to a particular frequency. Break the solid world down to smaller and tinier components, and you see what appears to be a dance of particles and spaces. Go to the tiniest of these quantum particles, and you discover it emanates from a source that vibrates so fast that it divides the world of beginnings and endings. There is no beginning, there is no ending. So cultivate the awareness that spirit really is life, substance, essence. So when you think of where the next meal will come from, or the next paycheck, or the next happiness, or the next friend, just remember, it's all source, it's all spirit. Spirit in many forms. So, source, it's all source. Catherine Ponder, I think most of you know her. She's written a few books on prosperity. I have her book. And she says, basically, there's only one disease. One disease. It's called congestion. There's only one cure. Circulation. So get out there and circulate. And also, Scott says, there's an urge within all of us to be in the fullness of life, to go with what we love in our jobs and creativity, relationships, even in our solitude. So honor that. Daily cultivate the awareness that we are surrounded by a divine presence that wishes for us only good because we are expressing its life. So, I have one last, in conclusion, my job as a practitioner first and a minister is to see you as God sees you. And I know you are composed of divine essence. I know you're the beneficiary of life's generosity, and that wonderful new creations are waiting your expression. So life is good, it's loving, it's generous, and it's your life now. So whatever you want more of, give it away. Start the circulation. I have one last story I wanted to mention. This comes from the Jewish religion. It says, long ago there lived a baker who one day happened to bake an unusually beautiful loaf of bread, so beautiful and so perfect that it seemed to come from the hand of the Creator. So rather than sell it, he decided to take the bread to the synagogue as an offering. And because he wanted to celebrate such a perfect loaf of bread. So alone in the sanctuary, he opened the sacred ark and he gently placed the loaf of bread inside it. And he prayed that his offering would be accepted, and he departed. But just at that minute, there was a baker passing by the synagogue, and it had been a long time since he had eaten anything, but he felt as if he might die of starvation. But somehow, it wasn't his time, and he could not believe that his fate was death from starvation. So he entered the synagogue. He made his way to the sanctuary. Kneeling before the ark, he explained his plight, and he prayed. And as soon as he completed his prayer, he opened the ark. And there was a beautiful loaf of bread. And murmuring a prayer of thanks, he lifted the bread and he hurried from the synagogue. For his part, the baker was wondering whether his offering had been accepted, and he couldn't resist returning. So the baker returned to find out. He opened the ark and he saw that the bread was gone. And his heart leaped, or is it leapt? Leaped. His heart leaped with joy. Leapt with joy? In fact, he resolved to make a new offering every week of a perfectly baked loaf of bread. And as it happened, whenever the baker placed a new offering in the ark, the beggar once again, the beggar, not the baker, but the beggar, once again found himself in desperate need of food. And time again, the beggar prayed, opened it to find a new loaf of bread. And time again, the baker returned to discover it empty. So both men, for different reasons, felt their prayers had been answered. And they were one with the Creator, giving and receiving. And did you know, this went on for 14 years. It's supposed to be a true story. But yes, in closing again, giving and receiving, you effectuate the flow of God. You effectuate Spirit. By giving and receiving, you're part of it. You are that which is the expression of the divine. Thank you.